Welcome to Hoops Tracker. Jerry Howard, your host. Hoops Tracker is your source for Colorado basketball. Wow, we have had quite the week in Colorado basketball. We've had a coach resign, we've had a program and upheaval. Um, Lots to talk about on the show. Without further ado, let's dive into what we've got going on. Remember, you can see us on hoopstracker.net. We're on social media as Hoops Tracker. Tag us. We're also on Spotify, YouTube for our shows. We've had some great interviews in the past, but we got Coach Mike Kroll's interview out. We interviewed Carol Callahan from USA Basketball, Hall of Famer, lives here in Colorado, ran the USA program for almost 20 years. Phenomenal lady, comes on the show. We catch up with Lauren Betts at UCLA. Man, the news always interviews coming up, news, alumni commitments, games, reviews. We've got a lot going on. Breaking news this week. Cherry Creek head coach Savannah White resigns last Wednesday. Not quite sure what's going on with the program. JV coach Katie Kidd coaches Saturday night against Highlands Ranch. We will talk about that more. And we'll be tracking who they pick and who should be that next coach. All right, big news. We've got a couple players hit 1,000-point games. Kyla Hollier Roosevelt, huge game, scores 40 points when she reaches her 1,000th point at Roosevelt. Huge shout out to one of the top players in the 2026 class. Jasmine Byers at Vista Ridge, senior, also hits 1,000 points. Big congratulations to her. And Alex Eschmeyer from peak to peak gets her 1,000th rebound. And what's interesting is she's one of, we'll say, 10 or 12 players that has had 1,500 points and 1,000 rebounds. So hats off to Alex. Man, congratulations. It's great. Now, with that, we did a little bit more digging because we have another All-American in the state named Sienna Betts. Sienna moves into the top 5 of all-time Colorado rebounders at 1249. Huge shout out to Sienna, who did that this weekend against Roosevelt. Man, she actually is on the cuffs. She could break the all-time rebound record in Colorado. And by the way, Sienna has over 1,600 points, and she's also in that rebound club, and she's in the top 5, and she's one of the top players to hit those marks. So congratulations to Sienna. Last week games, game of the week, legend Riverdale did not disappoint. Man, Bree Crittenden, 36 points. This game was close, but legend pulls it out, and they pull it out because Grace Stanley scores 20 points. Phenomenal performance by both teams. Like I said, don't sleep on this Riverdale team. They are legit. And with the parity in 6A, anything can happen, and they're young and anything can get better. So be on the lookout. Valor goes in, beats Creek on Tuesday night, and that's when a lot of the stuff happened at Creek. Apparently, the next morning, handful of players say they're going to resign. The coach resigns. The players come back. Who takes over this team? Well, on Saturday night, and we'll get to that game in a second. Let's finish the others. Air Academy beats Liberty. Byers beats Wiggins in a top 2A match. Pine Creek, Denver East. Brooklyn Stewart shows up against Denver East, plays extremely well. I believe Emma for Denver East has 14 or 16 points. But Brooklyn Stewart leading the charge. They pull out the win over Denver East. And then Berthoud, a top 4A team, goes to Resurrection Christian, last year's top Final Four 4A team, but now drops to 3A, and Resurrection Christian just drops the bomb on them. Olivia Klein, 28 points. That was just amazing performance by her. I believe I counted at least 4 or 5 3-pointers in that game by her. She was lights out, definitely on Hoops Tracker's mind for Player of the Week. Congratulations. Grandview at Ralston Valley. Grandview pulls out the win. Very close game, top 10 matchup. Everything there was expected. Sienna Betts blows up, but Santana Sabas, big game, scoring. She was the leading scorer for Ralston Valley in that game, pulls it out. Chaparral at Denver East. Denver East is starting to come and look like the Denver East and the Carl Matty teams we've come to know. So they put it on Chaparral. And then Northfield goes to Mullen. Now, I did not expect this. Northfield is a good team. They're making that adjustment to 6A, but Mullen drops 57-32, beats them by 24, 25. And I just was not expecting that. More to come. Mullen is making good progress with their talent, and they dropped down to 5A. Northfield had to move up to 6A. So Mullen, one of the top 5A teams, really puts it on them. Friday night, Green Mountain at Peak to Peak. For some of you who don't know, the Green Mountain boys coach, Mike Puccio, actually is the PE teacher at Peak to Peak. So this was a big rivalry game. The boys came to play, the girls came to play. Everybody wanted to beat Green Mountain. Unfortunately, the Green Mountain girls just too much for the Peak to Peak girls. Alex Eschmeyer gets recognized, as we already pointed out, with her 1,000th rebound. Um, Wiggins at Marino. Marino takes care of business. Marino, this team is undefeated. I believe last year they're undefeated. They're loaded. We're doing some more research on some of their top players, but I know the coach's daughter is a junior, and she's one of their leading scorers last year. She was 15.6 points per game, and she's one of the top players. Game of the week had to be Air Academy at Pine Creek. Man, this game went down to the last shot, 49-48, Air Academy. Tatiana Brown blows up with 24 points. Kinley Asp with 15. I didn't see how many Lydia Flowers had, but Brooklyn Stewart only had 14 points, but she didn't play a whole lot because she got into foul trouble early and had to sit. But man, what a game this was. Coming down to the wire. Actually, at the very end of the game, Pine Creek had a chance to make that last second shot. They had the last second possession. It didn't fall. Air Academy wins. Hats off. We saw Tatiana Brown on Saturday at the CU game wearing her Kansas gear. Congratulations to her. Now, Berthoud, top 4A team, goes to play Timnath, also a top 4A team, not 3A, but 4A. And Timnath comes out on top. I mean, that was a huge, huge win for Timnath. They have a new coach. We're going to get them on the show. We're going to talk about their players. We went up to Grandview at Roosevelt. This game was a little bit closer. It got out of hand in the second half, but Sienna Betts, of course, great performance. But Ava Chang, Deja Robertson, they played without Lexi Yee, who, one of the top soccer players in the state, was out of state doing on a recruiting visit. Riverdale Ridge goes out of state to Nebraska to play at Kearney. They played Millard West, one of the top teams in Nebraska, come up 4 points short. Bree Crittenden, of course, impresses everybody in Nebraska. She just played phenomenally. They just came up just short. And Broomfield Valor, this game, man, Broomfield came out and they punched Valor in the mouth. They were on fire. Sydney Deem hit two threes. I believe Reese Gilpatrick hit two threes. Olivia Kim hit two threes in the first half. I mean, they just came out and were just right on it. It wasn't until the fourth quarter where the wheels fell off, the youth exposed, um, just some just some turnovers where this game flipped. But Peyton Jones, holy smoke, 45 points. CU was in the building. Man, there were lots of people in the building. We saw Mayreed Hardy from Denver East. We saw the Loveland coach, uh, Derek Yowsey. I mean, everybody was at this game, and this was a fun game to be at. Back and forth, back and forth. That fourth quarter, man, at the end of that fourth quarter, Valor goes on like a 15-0 run. And then after that, it just was hard for them to catch up. Now, this surprised me. Regis goes to Mullen, and Mullen puts it on Regis. Jane Rumpf is held to 2 points. Ileana Green scores 17, the high scorer for Regis. Not sure what happened. Watch that game, but man, Mullen is starting to put those pieces together. And then probably the game everybody was watching. There was all sorts of people that went to this game. One, they wanted to know who was going to coach that Cherry Creek team, and it was the assistant JV coach, Coach Caitlin Kidd. She put together a phenomenal game plan. Now, Ezra Simonik had 21 points, but she got injured in the first half and came out. And that's when Creek really started to make their move. And then Ranch was creeping back, but they just couldn't pull him in. And Cherry Creek gets the win. Big shout out to the girls, especially after all that had happened. Lots of people in the audience. We won't go into all of that, but let's take a look at this week's games. Monday night, Skyview at Green Mountain, A West at Columbine, ready to kick off the week. Some big games, right? Byers at Denver Christian for a top 2A matchup. Frederick at Broomfield, a big Boulder County matchup. And then Regis goes to Grandview. Are they going to be able to bounce back? Pine Creek at Highlands Ranch. Now, I don't know the last time Karen Jiraki went and 3 losses in a row. It's been a long time, but Pine Creek's coming to town. We'll see how that goes. Fossil Ridge at Windsor up north for a big northern matchup. On Wednesday, Golden's at Green Mountain. I believe they're playing at Ball Arena since it's such an early game. Mullen at Holy Family. This will be a good test for both of them. Valor at Combine gets into league play. Roosevelt at Mullen. This is game of the week, top 5 matchup. Man, this is going to be a great game. We'll see. Roosevelt bounce back after that loss to Grandview, and then we'll see how Mullen does when they match up against this team. So Broomfield at Horizon, Ralston Valley at Valor. Now, I'm surprised that matchup has happened so soon because they just played Valor a week ago, and this is basically probably for the Jeffco Championship. And then Frederick at Meade is going to be a great game, and that is a huge rivalry game. Bertha goes to Roosevelt on Friday, and then Saturday, our 6A game of the week, Legend at Grandview. How does Coach Pitts and this Legend crew stop Sienna Betts, All-American, Ava Chang, Deja Robertson, Lexi Yee? Man, this is going to be a battle because how is Coach Josh going to defend against those point guards for Legend? Grace Stanley, Ava Gavi, Maylee Wilhelm, and then you have Mason Borscherdering. You've got a great game, great chemistry. This is going to be awesome. Another big game of the week at 1A is going to be Marino 2A at Stratton. I believe Stratton is 1A, but maybe 2. This will be a big battle. Fossil Ridge at Arapahoe, Creek at Riverdale Ridge. Creek's got a game tomorrow night, Tuesday night, against Rock Canyon. We will definitely know who the coach is then. Rocky Mountain at Broomfield for a big matchup. Man, we have great games this week, especially league play starting. Rankings, here we go. We got Valor Legend, Riverdale Ridge, Grandview. Number 2 versus number 4. Riverdale Ridge will be taking on Cherry Creek, who's got a little fire now with the assistant coach. Highlands Ranch came off a tough loss. Broomfield a tough loss. Cherokee Trail, Ralston Valley, and Regis. So that rounds out our 6A rankings. 5A, Air Academy, clearly number 1 after beating Pine Creek. You got Meade 2, Mullen 3, and this is going to be a great matchup because Mullen is going to play number 5, Roosevelt, and we're going to see how this top 5 team does. Green Mountain keeps inching its way up. Coach Mateo's doing a great job there. We got Windsor, Pueblo East, Frederick, Stanley Lake, Lutheran, and then other teams getting votes. Look, 6A, 5A, there is a ton of parity. I mean, you got Denver East, Cherry Creek with some new fire in their belly. You got Rock Canyon, you got Doherty, who knocked off Ralston Valley last week. And then at 5A, you got Durango, Pueblo East, Thompson Valley, Palmer Ridge. I mean, look, there is a ton of parity amongst these teams. Let's jump into 4A. Not a lot of change. University, Holy Family, Timnath, Dievlin. Don't count this Dievlin team out. Coach Chris is a phenomenal coach, and every year he gets multi-sport athletes, and he churns out a phenomenal basketball program. You got Coach Chris Kem at Skyview, got his team running on all full cylinders. Delta, Peak to Peak, Berthoud, Alamosa, Jefferson Academy, and Lamar. And at the 3A, you've got Resurrection Christian led by Olivia Klein. Denver Christian has a big game this week, as we pointed out. And then you got Yuma, you got Strasburg, you got Centauri, CSCS. I mean, all these teams playing very well, and lots of parity in Colorado basketball. Who are our players of the week? All right, Peyton Jones, 45 points against Broomfield. I didn't count how many threes. It was great. I mean, she just put this game away. She is becoming the big time player that she is. Bree Crittenden, 36 points against Legend. Tatiana Brown, 24 points. I'm not forgetting you, Olivia Klein. Olivia Klein for Resurrection Christian, 28 points in that game against Berthoud. Mackenzie Jones for 20. Reese Gilpatrick for 20 against Valor. Reese had, I think, 3 threes in that game, but she had many blocks. Great player. And one player I want to point out that a lot of people are not aware of, there's a young sophomore at Cherry Creek named Ari Boyd. She's consistently been averaging 12 to 13 points a game. She has 14 points in the win over Highlands Ranch, leading that Creek team in points. Braylon, I think, had 13, but this young lady has played very well consistently. She has definitely caught our eye. Big shout out to Ari. And then, hey, special prep writer show edition. We usually air this on Tuesday or Wednesday when we record and get that out. All the top writers and reporters from around the state talking about players. If you've got news, share it with us. HoopsTracker, hoopstracker.net. We are online. We're on social media. Hit us up. Talk to us. Remember, HoopsTracker is your source for Colorado women's basketball and probably the source for Colorado women's basketball. We know what's going on, ins and outs, and we're looking forward to finding out who that new Cherry Creek coach is, and we will let you guys know. With that, everyone have a great week. Be safe, and we're out.